Subscribe to this podcast to get exclusive access to the after show Shooting the Breeze. Welcome to the Cool Explorations podcast. This is your host, Tony Peters. Today we will be talking to Rick DellaRatta of Jazz for Peace, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what they do at Jazz for Peace, and as well about their ministry in Pakistan. And I'm looking forward to hearing about what he has to say, and I hope you'll enjoy listening to it. And he can be found at jazzforpeace.org. So today we have Rick DellaRatta. He is from Jazz for Peace, and they are going to just explain a little bit about himself first, but also with the organization. And then he's going to play something for us called Joshua's Song. Is that the song you're planning to play?
It is.
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent.
So I'd love to hear about that as well, about the song. So go right ahead.
Okay, so Jazz for Peace really started as a poem, Tony, and it was written, believe it or not, on 9/11, and it was written watching the events of 9/11. I was living less than a quarter of a mile away from the World Trade Center at the time. It's kind of a place in New York called the East Village. And it's like I said, you can see, you could see from your window. For me, I went up on the roof of my building and I was watching the events, and it was unprecedented. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And the only thing that I could do was write a poem. That's the only thing. My only response to what I saw were words that just came out of my heart, and I just wrote them down on a piece of paper. And then I decided, well, I've written these words down. I've heard the message, that we've, of spirituality, and the message of Christianity and of Christ and of, the Bible. I was a church organist. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe now that I have written these words down, it's time to live up to those words and actually walk the walk instead of, only talking the talk for the most part, which is what most people seem to do. So I've spent the rest of my life just trying to live up to those words that I wrote on that piece of paper on that fateful morning. The song I'm going to play for you is actually a song that I was asked to write for an author who had written a series of books called Joshua. The first one was just called Joshua. And then it became Joshua and the Children, and Joshua in the in the Holy Land, and all these different titles. It just expanded into many different languages all over the world. And this is actually Joshua's Song. I'm going to play a little bit of a free improvisation in front of that. It's a little kind of theme I've been doing that makes every podcast different. This is called Free JA, and it's a kind of thing that is just I don't know what it is because I'm going to make it up, and then I'm going to go into Joshua's Song. And so that it makes if someone wants to hear what the free improvisation that I did that all has the same title from your podcast, they have to come here. And what I hope it does is I hope it brings people from other podcasts to your podcast, and people from your podcast to others. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Share the. Mm-hmm. the hope of peace for mankind. Let's plant a seed of love in our lives. Starting today, turn your enemy into your friend. Take the first step and lend him your hand. He's holding all of us in his arms. He's looking upon us all with forgiveness and might, bringing joy into this day. When the children laugh and play, brings a sparkle to his eyes, and us all live in this world. In the family of faith, your soul, give the light a peace, a place to start. Joshua's song, keep it in your heart. Joshua's song, wipe the tears from your eyes. Joshua's song, bring his love into your life. Joshua's song, wipe the tears from your eyes. Joshua's song, bring his message one more time. Sing your soul, give the light a peace, a place to start. Joshua's song, keep it in your heart. Sing with your soul, give the light a peace, a place to start. Joshua's song, keep it in your heart. Sing with your soul, give the light a peace, a place to start. Joshua's song, keep it in your heart. Joshua's song, keep it in your heart.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So what's the story behind that song?
Well, so this priest had he was a priest, a Catholic priest. He left the priesthood and he had written this song. He'd written this book called Joshua, and it was what would happen if Christ were alive today? What would he be like? What would he, what could you expect if a Christ-like figure, or if Christ were to be here today with us? And the book, he started selling them off the back of his kind of a pickup truck, and people were just buying the book, and the book kind of took off, and eventually he got a publishing deal with Macmillan Publishing, and the book really he had been our funny thing was he had been our church priest before this book, and so our family used to go to hear him say mass at church when I was a kid, and and he used to come to our house every Thursday for dinner. So anyway, this book takes off, and I was going to school at New England Conservatory, and I get a call from my mother, and my mother says, Ricky, could you please write a song for this book, for Joshua, for the book, and I'd had a copy of the book, and I said, okay, Mom, I'll do that for you. You can't turn down a request from your mother, right? So I mean, really, the call came from my mother. So that was enough for me. If she had whatever she had said, if you write a song for anything, I would have wrote it. But I decided to write. I wrote the song that she asked for, and I said, "Okay, Mom, here you go." I wrote it, and next thing I know, there was a choir singing it all over the country, the whole thing grew with the Joshua books. It actually became a movie, believe it or not. I don't know if you saw Amadeus. Did you ever see the movie
I haven't
Amadeus?
seen it, no.
Oh, okay, that's a great movie about Mozart. I think you would enjoy that, or anyone would enjoy. I recommend that to anyone because the story of Mozart is kind of fascinating. Anyway, one of the stars of Amadeus, actually, the guy who played Salieri, who was Mozart's kind of arch enemy, he actually was one of the actors in the movie Joshua. It could have been called Joshua and the Children, I'm not sure, but they became a movie. But it was a whole series of books. I mean, we're talking at least 10 different books. They started to be, they were in many languages, and they sold, all over the world. Anyway, this book, Joshua, that I wrote this song for, outsold every book in Macmillan Publishing except for Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway.
Hmm. That's a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah, quite an accomplishment, especially for a faith-based book of
Yeah.
that, like that. It was funny because I was actually invited by Macmillan Publishing to a dinner in New York City once, before I was even living in New York City, and because they were putting on some sort of a little celebration for the, I don't know, however many millionth book that was sold or something like that.
So, what about your own testimony? What does that look like?
My own testimony. So now, would that be me personally or something?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And when you say testimony, do you mean? Could you be a little more specific? Like,
Like, what is
where
your
did I
life?
come from?
What
What's
does
my?
your life look like, and how's God kind of played a role in your life?
Okay. So basically, as I've already alluded to, I grew up, with, very much in a religious background. My mother was the organist in the church, and she ended up kind of dumping that onto me as I started to excel musically. So I was a church organist. I played I played many masses. I would play in the band somewhere on Saturday night, and on Sunday morning I'd have to get up early and play, four masses, at the church. So I was hearing a lot, the things of the Bible and all that. I wasn't really seeing what I was hearing. So I'm hearing the Bible telling you this and telling you that, and it all sounded great. It all made sense. The words and the stories and the almost the advisory that you were receiving from the messages from that. They sounded wonderful, but you don't always see them when like in between from Sunday to Sunday, you don't see as much, Then you come back and you hear it again, and then you go back out in the world and you don't see much of it again. And it's kind of a repeating and repeating. It seemed a little hypocritical to me, and it kind of disturbed me. But when I started, when I got to the point where I was old enough to, hey, it's about time, when are you gonna, at some point or other, you got to be who you really were meant to be, from a higher power. So when I wrote that poem, I decided from this day forward, I'm going to live Sunday all the way through Sunday. I'm going to try to, all those days are going to be Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not just going to listen to these words on Sunday and then, go into some other reality and then pick up again, like, you know what I mean? Like this crazy kind of thing. So, I started to do that, and I actually, interestingly enough, I found myself in Africa where I was in a very big church, and they asked me to come up and speak, and they wanted me to just give a speech, and I basically told the people that, I think it's very important that we don't just talk the talk, in a church. I mean, we should do that every Sunday to remind ourselves and strengthen our faith, but we need to really walk the walk from Sunday to Sunday. Now, from there, though, you have music, music is a very spiritual journey in itself, because artistically, the music really comes through you, so you're more of a conduit. You're more or less allowing the music to flow through you, especially in jazz and improvisation, if you are truly improvising. So there's a trust in the universe. There's there's spiritual aspects to the journey of music in general. And now with Jazz for Peace, we've combined that. We do basically anything that you see in Jazz for Peace. When people go to our website, which is jazzforpeace.org, or they go to the areas where you can find information about our empowerment tree, things like that. That's actually www. I think it's jazzforpeace.wordpress.com. It's a WordPress site. But anyway, these areas where you can learn about Jazz for Peace, it really comes from the Bible, the kind of ideas of multiplying, of empowerment, of enlightenment, things of that nature. Enriching oneself internally, not just externally. All these things really... Everything that you can find in Jazz for Peace, you can find in the Bible, including separating the wheat from the chaff. So what we do at Jazz for Peace, we have a benefit concert series. And, we believe that, the way to peace now is to help the most outstanding causes. If you can identify them, and they're truly committed to their mission, and you help them, you're not only benefiting them, but you're benefiting all of their outreach, whoever they are serving. And then by benefiting whoever they are serving, you're not only addressing a problem now, but you are also hopefully stopping a problem that's on the way. Because a lot of these organizations, they have shortfalls in achieving their mission, and that leads to other problems.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. So when you went about starting the organization, how did you do that, and what kind of kick-started it for you?
Well, here's what happened. Basically, I'm up there. I have a poem. Now, the city was locked down from 9/11 until around the 20th or something. I mean, the whole country was locked down. They finally opened up airline flights just in time for me to get to a jazz festival that I was headlining at in Savannah, Georgia. And this jazz festival had 8,500 people attending, and I was the headline act. It was, I was on a nice little thing before, this crazy attack or this crazy, thing happened with the World Trade. And, that's kind of shook up everything. And you can either address it constructively or destructively, depending on what you want to do. For me, it looked like a bad thing because it was really impacting a career that was on the rise. But it turned out to be a really good thing in terms of what came out of it, which was the first thing that came out of it was I read that poem. So I had nothing but a poem. I met in front of 8,500 people at the Savannah Jazz Festival, and I read the poem. Well, that poem just really resonated. A lot of people were talking about it, and when I got back up to New York, I got phone calls from my next concert, which was in Troy, New York, at a big, a beautiful concert hall, like one of the top concert halls in that region, maybe the top concert hall. And the press was asking me, what's going on here? What's this poem? Can you tell me about this poem? And the people from the concert hall, the promoters were like, are you going to put that to music? So I was like, I said, maybe. I might. And by the day of the concert, I had put it to music. And I basically just put it in front of the musicians. I talked them through it, and I said, hey, we're just going to go up there and wing it. And this is going to be our first song. And then we'll go back to our regularly scheduled program. So naturally, we performed the piece, jazz. Now it had become from poem to musical, musical song or whatever you want to call it. And the articles come out, and they are all DellaRatta starts out concert with Jazz for Peace, and they're all, they couldn't keep blah blah, and it was just all about the Jazz for Peace thing. It was all about that poem that had now become music. So now already I'm kind of being directed forward with this thing, First it started as a poem, then it I'm kind of hinted at, then it became music, and now it's like, now they're kind of launching me a little bit forward with the articles that came out, the pre-article and the post-article, that came out for this concert. So now I thought, well, let me do a series of Jazz for Peace concerts in New York, and there was a there was a youth hostel, and it was a very strange thing. It happened to be on Duke Ellington Boulevard, named after the great Duke Ellington, and it happened to be called Jazz on the Park, not because they knew anything about jazz, but because the owner's name was Jaz. That was his name, Jazz. So, but anyway, I'm looking at it like, so I'm visiting a friend on Central Park West where I had used to live, actually. I'm visiting him, and he's telling me about the place. He says, hey, right around the corner is this place, Jazz in the Park, and they have a little thing downstairs, where they do little music things. So I just went in there and I said, hey, you're Jazz on the Park. This is Duke Ellington Boulevard. I want to do a little series of, blah, blah, blah. So I started doing them there. And what I thought was, we'll do a few benefit concerts to help some outstanding causes. That'll be a good, next step. And now in between all of that, I had been asking my manager to contact the United Nations and tell them that I wanted to do a concert there that featured Israeli, Palestinian, and American jazz musicians. And naturally, she and everyone else thought I was crazy. It was a crazy, like, what are you talking about? You're just a musician here. What are you doing here? Trying to save the world or something? So, but anyway, I said, please, just follow the list. She said, well, who do I call? I said, just follow the leads they give you, see where it leads. And one day she tells me, hey, this thing, they've looked at all your information and they want to do this thing. So I did a concert at the United Nations where I had a multicultural band. Everyone was from a different country. One of the musicians was from Israel, and one of the musicians was from, technically Palestine, being Lebanon. And we sent out press releases, did what we could do, but people didn't pay a whole lot of attention. But after the concert, it just started resonating and resonating and resonating. And as the benefit concert series grew, because, it seemed like, what would happen was every time I do one of these benefit concerts, the people would write to me and say, hey, you really had a powerful impact on our organization. We have more sponsors now. We have more. Our donor base is expanding. We got the publicity was incredible for us. You brought in new and prestigious supporters. We got so and so or such and such knows about us now. So I started to get these letters from the organizations that I was helping, and then I started getting letters from very prestigious people. The first one was the mayor of New York City, and I show up to this event that I'm playing, actually to help it was a place that for Holocaust survivors, and they needed to expand their services, and they wanted Jazz for Peace to help them with this, get from where they are now to where they need to be. And I'm, with the musicians waiting for that, and I hear my name. I hear this big proclamation being read in my name and Jazz for Peace, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And the other guys are talking and eating food. They're not paying any attention at all. I even tried to get them to pay attention. They were like, not, they're like, I'm hey man, I'm concentrating on my, macaroni and cheese here. So, but I'm here, I'm like, I gotta find it. And so I said, what the heck? And they said, listen, this is from Mayor Bloomberg, and he just loves what you're doing. You've got to see this letter. We just read it to the audience, and here you go. It's yours. Keep it. It's yours. And I was like, oh my God, And then I started thinking, damn, if he thinks so much of this, who the hell knows? Maybe there's more people that might think a lot of this journey that I'm on, So as it started to expand, I started to do something like I would notice, synergies, for example, a woman contacted me from Chicago, and it was just, I was crying, I was just bawling listening to her story. Her son had been, it was so sad, her son had been murdered, and it was a brutal, horrific killing, and she, just like anyone does, the victims, the parents of 9/11 also, I did concerts to help the families of 9/11, so I had to deal with them, and I'm telling you, you know how it is, you're obsessed when you lose a loved one, the grief, and you become as fixated with what happened,
Yeah.
This woman had done a study because they caught the guy, And she just was fixated on what led this man to do something so horrible to such a wonderful person. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was
Yeah.
so outrageous. There's no rhyme or reason to this kind of behavior. And she just studied it. Well, she came to the conclusion that had this man had the arts and culture in his life, he was devoid of arts and culture. And this had helped to make him a monster. You know, he was devoid of all of the things that, well, I don't want to digress too much, but I had a quote that was becoming famous that's related to what she's saying. I was interviewed before that concert where I played the Jazz for Peace music piece that I told you about. I was interviewed by this newspaper, and I just happened to say off the top, because he wanted, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling? You're from New York. You witnessed what happened. Blah blah blah. I said, listen. I said, if we were to fill our souls up with, creativity and artistry and individuality and humanity and things of that nature, we would have a better chance at avoiding the behavior that leads to destruction. Now, I just said that off the top of my head. Well, while I was doing all this stuff, this started to get um, picked up by famous quotes websites. You know, A to Z quotes.com, famousquotes.us. All these little. I mean, and I didn't know about them. I didn't really exist. There's hundreds of these websites that feature famous quotes.
I should just Google quotes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Anybody who does that is very wise, because I wasn't very wise at the time. But when I started, I would find my name by accident, being related to these quotes. I go to the site and I'm like, look at all these quotes by all these great people, Mark Twain and this one and that one. Aldous Huxley. I didn't even know who Aldous Huxley was. I was so stupid. But I read his quotes. I'm like, this guy's a monster. He's predicting the future all the way back. And, I got to find out more about him. And you start finding out him and you're inspired. You read about these incredible people. You don't want to go out and mangle somebody and eat them or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what you want to do after you're inspired by these people. So my quote, because it had said that, it was, and it kept getting more relevant as we were deteriorating into, war-like behavior, countries not getting along, all of this craziness that was going on. And it gained relevance. So anyway, in her noticing what I had already said, but what she was noticing in her, in her study of this man, had he been doing what my quote said, had he been embracing, arts and culture and literature and, humanity and intelligence and, do you know what I mean? All of these kinds of qualities. Had he been doing that, this would have never happened. Do you know what I mean? He would have had a million times better chance of avoiding that behavior. So I'm looking at this situation, and I just said to the woman, as I sometimes do off the top of my head, like, to get that quote, I just said to her, listen, because I noticed she's from Chicago, Barack Obama, that was his jurisdiction. He was a senator. You know what I mean? I'm going to go, yeah. I'm going to land him for her. I said, listen, and I was so emotionally, I said, I got to do something for this woman. I said, listen, I'm going to, listen, before we're done, Barack Obama is going to be a supporter of your organization, and we're going to blah, blah, blah. We're going to grow this empowerment tree, and we're going to do all that stuff. And sure enough, I contacted Barack Obama, and I just said, listen, I need you to do this. You take a look at this. And he did. He came on board as a supporter of their nonprofit, wrote a letter about, we have the letter on that, all these letters. Well, anyway, it's led to all kinds of letters from people all over the world, and in other countries, the Prime Minister of Kenya. You can see all these letters from all of these prestigious, and that's one of the branches of our empowerment tree. And this message, as you know, it's kind of common sense, right?
Yeah.
Kind of what I'm saying? Yes,
yeah.
It's kind of
yeah,
common sense.
Yeah.
But we're not embracing common sense right now because, first and foremost, our media is owned by private companies and they are, selling their products and doing what's in their best interests, not necessarily. So, I'm reaching people, but I do these amazing things, and I think, oh, the whole world has changed. But no, I get back, and everything's the same. Just I did something. The people that I affected with that event. From their letter, I can see I gave them a helpful step forward. But I wasn't able to help all the other people that weren't there and still don't know about Jazz for Peace. You know what I mean? So hopefully, through your through this podcast, someone will say, "Hey, let me check this out," because you're just not going to hear it on a program that's being paid by Colgate and Palmolive to get their toothpaste sold.
Yeah. Well, and we'll put a link to jazzforpeace.org as well in the description. I also mentioned it in the intro that I did. So hopefully we'll get some traffic there. You also are involved in New Life Ministries in Pakistan. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes. Oh my God. And there you go. That's a serious faith-based initiative right there. So now these are Christians in Pakistan, and man, Christians are persecuted in Pakistan. I hate to say it. You probably already know that, but for someone who doesn't know it, it is very sad. It's very it's heartbreaking, really is heartbreaking, I have to tell you. So here's what happened. Basically, we work with anyone who contacts us, and that's how I end up in some of the craziest places you could ever imagine in your life, one of them being Lahore, Pakistan. And what happens is, if you contact us, we will work with you. We will help you through the easy steps to get Jazz for Peace funding wherever. And I am living proof. This event is living proof that it can be done anywhere. And it's in keeping with our mission. We want to, a lot of people will say, well, I'm not going to play there until they're a little more peaceful, until they get a regime change, blah, blah, blah. No, we actually want, if the worse off you are, the more they need Jazz for Peace. You need Jazz for Peace even more than this place because of your predicament. So, in keeping with our mission, we're not going to turn anybody down who is in need, is in help. And this amazing story started to come. These people started writing us, communicating. We were writing back. We were just going through all of the stuff, and it got very difficult because it was going to take a lot more than the average event. It's going to take a lot more for Jazz for Peace to be able to do this in Pakistan than, let's say, an event that we had recently done in Columbus, Ohio. Just a lot different. So we're kind of
a lot more security probably too.
Well, security was an issue. So one of the issues. So at some point in this, because we were trying to pull it together, and I'm trying to help the organization confirm their event with funds already raised for them. It's hard to do in Pakistan because, one, they have issues with their currency, and number two, the people are very poor because they're beaten down. They're under siege, really. I mean, their churches were being bombed. The event had to be moved like 4 times until finally it had to be. They said, we can't have it in this church because it's terrorists, blah, blah, blah. We moved it to this church. Then they said, we can't have it in any church. No church. So it had to be held at this other place that had very high security. And I had to stay at that place because that was the only place they told me that we could secure your safety. I was put in a car that had normally you'd have to be Al Capone to get into this car. You know what I'm saying? Because it had the tinted windows. You know what I mean? Armor
plating and all that.
It did. You could see, you could not see in. You could see out though. I could see out, but they could. They could. No one could see me. And I'm in this car, and I had recently been to. Kathmandu, Nepal, and so that's regional for Pakistan, and they were excited that I had Pakistani clothes, kind of, because they were Nepalese clothes, but it was close enough. And they said, "Oh, that's so good. Put those clothes on, and this is what we're going to do." They told me it was at a meeting. We're going to put you in this car. We're going to take you to these schools. These kids are going to go nuts. They've been hearing about you. They've been waiting about. And by the way, YouTube was blocked in Pakistan, so they had to go.
Surprise me.
Yeah, they had to go to Vimeo to get information on me, and I had to upload something. If I wanted something that them to see something, I had to take it off, or I had to get it off of YouTube and reload it onto Vimeo so that I could send it to them. Things like that, roundabout ways to get them the information and the videos. They said these kids are dying to, for you to meet them and play with them. And I would so they would take the car, it was armored, and they would drive it, and they would say, and while they're driving, I'm looking out and I'm taking little pictures out the window. And if you ever watch the video, Live in Pakistan video, at the very end, you can see all these pictures I took. Just pictures out the armored car where nobody could see me. They said, listen, you're going to get out of this car. By the time anyone even knows you're Western or everything's going to go too fast for anything to happen. You know what I mean? That's their, we're going to be around you. You're going to have these clothes on. By the time people, you know what I mean? It's all you're going to be in the place so fast. So anyway, I get out of the armored car. I'm with these people. We go into the school. The kids are just throwing, flowers all over me and embracing me, and they had a little keyboard, and I'd play music for them, and we'd sing and we'd play, and I go out and I go to another school, and there's so many illiterate people in Pakistan that this organization teaches the Christian mothers how to read, because there's too many kids, and then the mothers now become school teachers per se, teaching all of the kids of the other mothers. You know what I mean? All of the kids, all of the kids. So the mothers, by teaching the mothers to read, the mothers now can teach the kids that we can't reach with the classrooms because there's not enough. There's too many, that kind of thing. So so I go in there and I do all that. At the end of that day, they had a big dinner for me, and I remember eating the best rice I ever had in my life. I don't know why it was so good, but it was the best I ever had in my life, and the food was really good. It was all homemade food, Pakistani food, and I was really tired, and I told him, I was like, oh my God, I'm just, because Pakistan is not, it's a long flight to Pakistan. I mean, so I had jet lag, and I just kind of passed out, and they said, well, we have to go do some things. We'll come back and get you, and I didn't know where I was. You cannot go out and like, hey, taxi, take me to the, you can't do that. There's nothing. People are riding around. People are riding like donkeys. They're riding around on things. You know what I mean? You
so
can't.
It's not New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's like nothing I ever saw, really. I could not like just walk out of this place and like navigate myself back to any place, to nothing. Believe me, you were in a very foreign, atmosphere. So I fall asleep. I wake up. It's pitch black in this room. I hear strange noises outside. There's a curtain where there should be a window. I don't know what happened to the window, but it's kind of a curtain. So I wasn't really that secure. I went to look for some people. There was only one person in this in this house, and that person spoke no English. So I just had to wait it out. After like 3 hours, now it's getting up near midnight, I think. And two people come in with a cake, and they start eating the cake, and I come out to see them, and they want to give me some cake. They're celebrating their anniversary, and I said, well, are you coming? I try to see if I get some kind of are they coming to, do they know who I am? He said, yes, we know who you are. We're coming to the event because we love your music. I said, well, how do you know about my music? Well, one of our favorite songs is this song you wrote, and somehow they got it, like I said, not through YouTube. And so anyway, that was a good sign. And then after the cake and all that, the people came back, and they came back. I said, man, you guys were gone for a long time. They said, we have this proclamation. They said, if we hadn't got this proclamation, you wouldn't have even been able to do the performance. So it was a big, long thing from the city of Lahore that said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. They were so worried about any kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything happening. But what I wanted to tell you, the reason I went to Pakistan was ultimately because we were at a crossroads, and there was we didn't have what it was going to take to make this work. They were unable to complete the steps that enable an organization to confirm their event with funds already raised for them, like we do for everyone else. They were like halfway there or 3/4 of the way there. They couldn't get over the hump. Some guy who works at a Walmart in Seattle, something like that. He had been researching his passion. See, everyone has one of these passions. That's what I love about the synergy of Jazz for Peace and anyone. Somebody has something that they're passionate about, that they believe in, and he believes in literacy for children. That's his thing. So he had studied the situation in Pakistan, and he had concluded that the best organization out there to address literacy for his buck is Jazz for Peace, because of the publicity and awareness, all the things on the empowerment tree. So he became the sponsor that enabled them to complete, the easy step requirements. A guy out there, and he is he is a faith-based, a Christian. So this whole thing was very faith-based. It was a miracle, actually, if you ask me. It was just incredible. And the organization is still, they are still in touch with me.
So you talk about the tree a little bit,
Yes.
for Jazz for Peace. Could you explain how that tree works and what your overall goal is for that?
Yes. So one thing we found with any outstanding cause, okay, they're always stressed out because they're going to the same well for water, their same donors. They have these supporters and people that believe in them, but those people are kind of exhausted because they always have to go to them all the time, for help, for assistance, to keep them afloat. So they need to expand their donor base, they need sponsors. They need publicity and awareness. They need new and prestigious supporters, and they need fundraise. They need to learn fundraising. All right, the many different techniques that are involved in fundraising, and of course, they need to raise funds. They're underfunded. So all of these are what become branches of an empowerment tree. So, a lot of organizations, first of all, what we want to do is separating the wheat from the chaff, okay, as the Bible says. Our way of doing that is to find the organizations that are truly the ones that really put their mission statement first. In other words, they're putting achievement above profit. If their goal is for children to read, that's more important to them than, enriching their own personal, bank accounts or anything like that. You know what I mean? Their goal is to reach their mission. And that's what it's supposed to be in philanthropy. It's supposed to be achievement before profit. And the bottom line is that's where the success is. Because for whatever reason, as soon as you put a profit before achievement, your achievement goes down the tubes. Maybe your profits go up, but you don't achieve really anything in terms of your mission. So the first thing to do is separate the wheat from the chaff. A lot of nonprofits, a whole lot of them, are people that are they're flawed in one way or another. For example, some nonprofits are people that are really just trying to make themselves look better in the community for their for-profit business. You know what I mean? So they're trying to they're using the nonprofit just for their image. You follow me? They're not really and the public's easy to fool. So instead of really doing all the things that they say they want to do, they put on a little dog and pony show here and there, just for people to see, and that helps their image. So the nonprofit's existing to help their image. Other people, okay, just don't understand the idea of empowerment, enlightenment, these concepts, and they just think if you give us money, you'll solve all the problems of the world can be solved by throwing money at it. Okay, so those are two examples of flawed organizations. What we want to do is show everyone that we work with and people who review Jazz for Peace and check us out, that it's really about empowerment. Money is one branch of the tree. So basically it starts with the roots of the tree, and everything's about a tree. Before you even get to the roots, it starts with a comment. Those little seedlings that spin around, you never see those in the fall, and then they fall to the ground from a tree? Okay.
We have in our backyard.
You got them in your backyard. It's a seedling. Well, for Jazz for Peace, those seedlings are comments. Those are just people that reviewed what Jazz for Peace was doing. They watched a couple of our videos, or they reviewed our we have a little fast facts. It's only 20 seconds long. You can click on that, and basically you can go to a page called jazzforpeace.org/knowthefunder.pdf, and you could just go there, knowthefunder.pdf, and click on it, and you click on our fast facts for 20 seconds if you want. That'll give you enough information right there to make a comment, and just send it to us by email, and that's a seedling. Okay, hopefully people will look at that and then 20 seconds say, wow, I can't believe they've done all this and I never heard of them. I don't know why Fox or CNN never told me about them, but oh my goodness, look at this. Let me check out this. Oh, what's that they're doing? What's this in Pakistan? What's that over there? Whoa, the Rwanda, and they check out stuff. That's even better. Now you've got a little bit of knowledge. Now you say your own honest comment, whatever it is you want to say. It could be, hey, you guys really need to come to, you need to come over here to Tuscaloosa. I'm involved with this wonderful organization. I really think you guys can make a difference. It could be as simple as that. It could be a few words. It could be a sentence. They send it to us. That's a seedling. We take that comment and we turn it into funds for their outstanding cause. And here's how we do it. After they've made their comment, we will then take that comment and shape it into a letter that explains what we wanted, how we want to take this comment and turn it into funds for this outstanding cause. Okay, so we do work with them. We'll make the letter. We send it to them. How is that? Is that okay? What do you think of that? Sometimes they'll say, well, I'd like to change this sentence, or could you add my email address to the bottom? Whatever they say, we fix it. Great, you're happy? Great. Okay, now you take that letter and you share that with, if you're a nonprofit, you'll share it with your board members. You know what I mean? Let's say you're a musician, you'll share it with your band members. You know what I mean? Let's say you're, whoever you are, you'll share it with those people that are your team members. Your team members and your supporters. And then you'll want to share it with your friends, maybe your family. Hey, and they'll all do the same thing that you just did. They'll look and say, what the heck? How did I never, this is, and they're going to help you? Wow, okay. You know what? I would love for Jazz for Peace to come and make a difference for my friend so-and-so, or for this outstanding. That could be their sentence. You see what I mean? Everyone gives their little comments. Now that seedling is growing into roots. You see what I'm saying? Now, from here, to complete those roots, we can expand it. And what we do then is we simply take a few of the most enthusiastic people of them. Sometimes they're the board members, or hopefully they are. Hopefully they're board members that are serving that board, not sitting on the board, but serving it as well. And they say, you know what? I've had friends. I love this cause, and I go to, I try to tell them on Wednesday at bowling, and they just don't get it. They're too interested in getting a strike, or they're a royal flush at bridge. I can't get this. I'll tell you what. I'm going to show them this letter, and we're going to invite them. Now these people all become VIP guests of honor at the event. So they're getting the red carpet treatment at this event. The people who become the roots, they're the VIP guests of honor at a world-class cultural event. So they bring their friends and family or whatever. They use that letter and invite their friends. And now we have the full set of roots. This enables us to confirm the event for that outstanding cause at no cost to them. By the way, putting on an event can be costly and risky financially.
Yeah. Same with podcasting.
Exactly. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So and so now we've got them already an event that didn't cost them anything, and they've got some money that's in their bank account already for them to start doing the services they need. For some reason or other, because this is faith-based, you reminded me of an organization called Cardinal Bevilacqua. They are a Christian organization in Philadelphia, and they had wanted to make their church. They wanted to make their church accessible, handicap accessible for their parishioners. They had people in wheelchairs, this, that, and the other, and they wanted to, reconstruct areas of the church to make it more accessible for their parish. Well, they were able to start this work, even though we didn't have the event, because just confirming the event some of the funds were able to get them started on these, wheelchair ramps and things that they wanted to do that were part of their goal, right? So while that's going on, now we have all these VIP guests of honor that are coming to this event, okay? And that's already word of mouth publicity. But, that's really all we're just calling that is the roots. We put on a special kind of meet and greet for them, make them feel special. Sometimes they come in a special entrance. They go to a special area of the venue, the back room or something like that. And, they all meet and they hobnob and they network and all that kind of stuff for a little while. And then, then we have the event. But those are the roots. Now we've got a confirmed event. Guess what we can do with a confirmed event? We can go after local business sponsors. And a lot of these organizations, they're not doing enough in the community. Even if they're doing some, you're never doing enough, So we're able to get, hey, this is what's going on. We've got all these people already attending. We have the event confirmed. We need you to be on the the flyers and all that stuff, your business. And they're looking at it like, hey, this is something that looks like it's going to be good for my business. I mean, they're looking at Jazz for Peace. Jazz for Peace has done over 850 of these events already. They can, if they want to, they can watch videos of other events. They can see for themselves. This is not a bad deal for us, and they get to be VIPs and come to the to the event. So now now they have local business sponsors. Hopefully, by the time we're through with them, they will be friends and sponsors of them permanently. That's our goal. You follow me? But that's branch number 2, local sponsors. And we get a lot of them. And, it's a shame because I have an event coming up and we have a flyer. And if I show you that flyer, I'm going to show it to you. 1 second. All right, let me get first. I have it. All right, so that's number 2. Now that you've got an event and you have sponsors and you have to we want to publicize those sponsors and really make them so excited that they got on board with this. So now you can publicize the event. Jazz for Peace finds its way onto, if you click on that empowerment tree is interactive, so you can click on branch 3. If you click on it, it goes to me on NBC. Talking about I'm on NBC television and I'm talking about an organization that's never even been on the radio. You know what I mean? And they're doing great things, but it's like, wow, you got us on, So that's publicity awareness. From there, and that could be anything. It can be radio, it can be print, it can be word of mouth, it can be, all that stuff combined is publicity. That's a branch. Now, number 4, now with all this happening, number 4, you can approach a nationwide company. You know what I'm saying? Because you've got so many things in place that they're going to miss out if they don't get involved. You know what I mean? I mean, for example, Whole Foods, even before now they're Amazon, but before they were, for going back many years, they were almost, as I said, if you go over to at this point, if you go over there, I'm pretty sure they're going to say, yeah, we want in. And they would. And so I'm just, but I'm just saying it could be anyone. It could be Dom Perignon Champagne. They and they have been a sponsor. So you get those names that are recognizable. Those are the bigger names. Now you can get those. From there you can go to new and prestigious supporters, which this organization is working on now. We're working with them. We work together with them on all these branches. So guess what they're getting? They're getting all this knowledge that they can carry forward. You see what I mean? From the experience from us. Now, this is, look at all these spots. I don't know if you can see the bottom of this. I don't know. Can you look at the bottom? Look.
Yeah.
Those are sponsors. All of those people. And I think there's a new one. All right, this one. Yeah, okay. That's an old one. They had more sponsors since then have come on board. Look at now it's.
Oh, now you've got 2 rows.
Yeah, there's 2 rows of sponsors on this thing. So you see what I'm saying? This is an event coming up and it's in Nigeria. So
cool.
this person in Abuja, Nigeria, I've never been there. It'll be my 9th trip to Africa. My 9th trip to Africa.
I'm
And
very
people,
jealous of that. I want to go to Africa. Originally, my wife and I we wanted to be missionaries in orphanages in Africa, and
wow.
my health prevented that from happening. And God obviously had other plans, podcasting. Now I reach Africa through radio, so that's kind of cool.
Well, you're going to reach it through Jazz for Peace. It would not surprise me at all if our thing here leads you to Africa. I would not. I tell you, I have seen it all. I've seen so much crazy stuff. So you never know. Just the fact that you want to do that. I mean, see what we are. We are the way for those who have the will. That's what we are. We're the way for those who have the will. So you just never know where this is going to lead as you learn more about what we do. And people from Africa are going to be watching your show, just so you know. That's a slam dunk. I mean,
Yeah. We're in 35 countries right now, so yeah,
okay.
We've got Africa, South Africa, Asia. There's tons of places. It's been amazing to see the growth, honestly.
Wow. Well, so then don't be surprised, because with Jazz for Peace, if you want to help an outstanding cause, once you identify that outstanding cause to us, and if they are interested, if they've watched our videos, guess what they can do? They can send us a comment. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can just send us a comment, and our team will start working with them for.
Yeah. I'll just put that out there. I'll just put this out there. The podcast definitely could use some funds.
Well,
just saying.
Listen. It starts. Listen. This is how easy it could start. This says historic. I don't know, historic event in Abuja. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, people can go to our website or wherever and learn about it. But you'll be able to learn a lot about this as we go on, because it's going to be. I believe it's going to be worldwide cybercast. So it's going to be. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff involved with this event. But what you can do. In all honesty, after the show, you could just say, "Hey, you send us a comment, and we will send you the next step, and you can just look at it and see if it is something. You know what I mean? You can just go through the steps. I mean, we'll take you through the steps. Like I said, we have the way. If you have the will, we have the way.
Awesome.
That's how it works.
Well. Thanks for coming on. I've really enjoyed this. It's been very enlightening. And thanks for playing your song for us. It was beautiful.
Great. Glad you enjoyed it.
So thank you again. We'll have to have you back on another time. Maybe you can talk about some more events that you've hosted. So it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we can expand on this. Now we got this is our foundation, and we can expand on it the next time.
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to that.
Okay. Thank you so much for everything. We enjoyed it.
You're very welcome.
You have just been listening to an interview with Rick DellaRatta from Jazz for Peace, and they can be found at jazzforpeace.org. And they are a great organization that provides funding for organizations and companies out there that need the attention and need the help. And they are there to give that help and provide the education and the means to achieve their goals. So thank you for tuning into Cool Explorations. This is Tony Peters signing off. Well, I have just been blessed with so many people who are requesting to be on the show, and I'm impressed with how many people want to share their testimonies or what they're doing for the Lord right now. If I haven't got back to you, I promise I will get back to you. I look forward to speaking with each of you and interviewing you. And keep tuning into the show. There's lots of new people that are coming on here, and if you're considering wanting to come on the show, just shoot me an email at tpeters745@gmail.com, and I will get back to you.